Maya Chen had always been different. While other 16-year-old girls spent their weekends at shopping malls or streaming entertainment feeds, she found herself drawn to the abandoned sectors of New Geneva Colony. Her parents, both xenoarchaeologists working for the Galactic Survey Division, had raised her among ancient alien ruins and forgotten technologies. What they didn't know was that their daughter possessed an unusual sensitivity to electromagnetic fields that seemed to pulse from certain extraterrestrial artifacts. The morning that would change everything started like any other. Maya slipped away from the residential dome while her parents attended a conference on Zephyrian crystal formations. She had packed her detection equipment, water rations, and a quantum torch into her exploration pack. The restricted zone called Sector 7 had been off-limits for decades, ever since the first colonists discovered structures that defied conventional understanding of physics. As Maya approached the towering crystalline formations that marked the sector's boundary, her wrist scanner began picking up unusual energy signatures. The readings were unlike anything in the standard databases. The electromagnetic pulses seemed almost rhythmic, like a heartbeat that had been waiting for someone to notice it. The structures themselves were breathtaking. Translucent spires twisted toward the sky in impossible spirals, their surfaces covered with intricate patterns that seemed to shift when viewed directly. Maya had studied hundreds of alien architectural styles through her parents' research, but these formations belonged to no known species. The material appeared to be a fusion of organic compounds and synthetic elements that shouldn't have been able to exist together. Maya activated her scanner's deep penetration mode, designed to detect hidden chambers within solid structures. The results made her catch her breath. Beneath the surface formations lay an enormous complex, stretching for kilometers in every direction. The scanner indicated multiple levels, vast chambers, and what appeared to be an active power source that had been running continuously for over a millennium. She spent 3 hours searching for an entrance before discovering a section where the crystalline wall seemed thinner. When she pressed her palm against the surface, the material responded to her bioelectric field and dissolved into a doorway perfectly sized for human passage. The fact that the opening matched human proportions exactly seemed too convenient to be coincidental. The interior defied all logic. Corridors stretched into the distance, illuminated by panels that activated as Maya approached. The air was perfectly breathable, maintained at optimal human comfort levels. Emergency lighting guided her deeper into the complex, as if the entire facility had been designed with human visitors in mind. After walking for what felt like hours, Maya entered a vast circular chamber dominated by a central platform. Thousands of crystalline storage units lined the walls, each one glowing with stored data. The platform held a single pedestal, supporting what appeared to be a book, though it was clearly composed of the same advanced materials as the rest of the facility. As Maya approached the pedestal, holographic text materialized in the air above it. To her amazement, the symbols gradually shifted into perfect English, as if the system was analyzing her brain patterns and adapting its display accordingly. The text read, "Terran Genetic Archive, Restricted Access, Temporal Lock, 1,130 Standard Years, Authorization Required." Maya's hands trembled as she realized what she had discovered. This wasn't just any alien archive. It was specifically designed to store information about Earth and its inhabitants. But who had built it, and why had it been hidden on a remote colony world for over 12 centuries? The book itself seemed to pulse with internal light. Its cover bore no title, only a symbol that resembled the double helix of human DNA intertwined with unknown genetic patterns. When Maya touched the surface, the book opened automatically to the first page, revealing text that made her heart race. To the Terran who discovers this archive, know that your species stands at a crossroads. The information contained within these pages was compiled during humanity's first golden age, before the Great Forgetting, before your people accepted the limitations imposed by those who feared your potential. What you are about to learn will challenge everything you believe about human nature and your place in the galaxy. Maya sat down heavily on the platform's edge, trying to process what she was reading. A golden age? The Great Forgetting? According to every history text she had ever studied, humanity had been a primitive species that achieved spaceflight only recently. Through the generosity of more advanced alien civilizations who had shared their technology. She continued reading, her excitement building with each page. The text described human achievements that surpassed anything attributed to the galaxy's most advanced species, technologies that could manipulate space-time itself, biological enhancements that allowed humans to survive in any environment, weapons systems that could reshape entire star systems. Most incredibly, the archive suggested that humans had once possessed natural psychic abilities that made them feared throughout the galaxy. According to the archive, humanity's rapid expansion across space 1,200 years ago had alarmed the established galactic powers. A coalition of alien species had conspired to limit human development through subterfuge and misinformation. They had destroyed historical records, altered genetic markers to suppress psychic abilities, and convinced humanity to adopt inferior technologies that would keep them dependent on alien guidance. The book detailed specific locations where human colonies had been secretly monitored and controlled for generations. It listed the names of alien agents embedded within human governments and scientific institutions. Most disturbing of all, it revealed that several major wars in human history had been artificially created to prevent humanity from achieving its full potential. Maya realized that her parents' work, along with that of thousands of other human researchers, was being carefully directed to ensure they would never discover evidence of humanity's true heritage. The archaeological sites they studied had been sanitized of any technology that might awaken human potential. The colonies they established were placed in locations specifically chosen to limit human expansion into strategically important regions of the galaxy. As she read deeper into the archive, Maya discovered that her own unusual sensitivity to electromagnetic fields was not a random mutation, but a remnant of humanity's dormant psychic abilities. The book explained techniques for awakening these powers and warned that doing so would immediately alert the monitoring systems maintained by the Galactic Coalition. The final pages contained a stark warning. The awakening of even one human with restored abilities will trigger automatic responses designed to eliminate the threat. However, once awakened, human potential cannot be contained. The choice is yours. Accept the comfortable slavery of ignorance or embrace the dangerous freedom of truth. Maya closed the book and sat in silence for a long time, watching the storage units pulse with their hidden knowledge. She thought about her parents, working diligently to advance human understanding, while unknowingly serving the interests of those who sought to control them. She thought about the billions of humans across the galaxy, living their lives without ever realizing what they had lost. When she finally stood up, Maya's decision was already made. She opened the book again and began reading the instructions for awakening her dormant abilities. The process would be irreversible and dangerous, but the alternative was to live as a willing participant in humanity's ongoing subjugation. As she followed the mental exercises described in the archive, Maya felt something fundamental shift within her consciousness. The electromagnetic fields she had always sensed became clear and controllable. She could feel the vast network of monitoring devices that surrounded the colony, along with the minds of every human within 100 kilometers. For the first time in over 1,000 years, a human being had awakened to their true potential. And across the galaxy, ancient warning systems began to activate. Maya's awakening was nothing like the gentle meditation exercises described in the archive. The moment her dormant abilities activated, Every electronic device within the chamber sparked and flared. The crystalline storage units pulsed brighter, responding to her newly enhanced bioelectric field. Through her expanded consciousness, she could perceive layers of reality that had been invisible moments before. The colony's monitoring network became as clear as a physical map. She saw the hidden sensors embedded in every building, the behavioral analysis programs that tracked human activities, and the quantum communication arrays that transmitted data to destinations far beyond human space. Most shocking of all, she discovered that 3 members of the colonial administration were not human at all, but alien infiltrators using advanced biological disguises. The archive's knowledge flooded into her mind with increasing intensity. She learned that human DNA contained dormant sequences that could interface directly with quantum fields, allowing for abilities that other species could only achieve through technology. Telekinesis, telepathy, precognition, and even limited-time manipulation were all natural human capabilities that had been systematically suppressed. As Maya explored her newfound awareness, she began to understand why humanity had been so feared. While other species had evolved specialized abilities, humans possessed an unprecedented combination of adaptability, creativity, and raw psychic potential. They could master any environment, learn any skill, and overcome seemingly impossible challenges through sheer determination and innovative thinking. The archive revealed that during humanity's golden age, a single human fleet had defeated the combined navies of 7 advanced civilizations in what was known as the War of the Helix. Human soldiers could predict enemy movements through precognitive abilities, while human engineers created weapons that adapted and evolved in real time. The victory had been so decisive that the surviving alien powers had immediately began planning humanity's downfall. Maya accessed deeper levels of the archive through her psychic connection, discovering technical specifications for technologies that made current galactic standard equipment look primitive. Human ships had once traveled between galaxies in days rather than centuries. Human colonies could terraform entire worlds in mere years. Human scientists had unlocked the secrets of consciousness itself, allowing for perfect integration between biological and artificial intelligence. The suppression of humanity had been a multi-generational project, requiring careful manipulation of human psychology and biology. The aliens had introduced genetic modifications disguised as medical treatments, slowly weakening humanity's psychic capabilities over hundreds of years. They had promoted cultural values that discouraged the kind of ambitious thinking that led to breakthrough discoveries. Most effectively, they had convinced humans that their limitations were natural and that relying on alien guidance was the responsible choice. As Maya absorbed this information, her abilities continued to expand. She could sense the thoughts of every human in the colony, feeling their hopes, fears, and the subtle psychological conditioning that kept them compliant. She felt a deep sadness for her parents and their colleagues, brilliant minds trapped in carefully constructed paradigms that prevented them from recognizing the truth. But her awakening had not gone unnoticed. Deep space monitoring stations throughout the sector registered the sudden appearance of psychic emanations that matched patterns from over a millennium ago. Automated response protocols activated, sending high-priority alerts to command centers across alien space. The threat that had been dormant for 12 centuries had finally emerged. Maya became aware of the approaching danger when her precognitive abilities detected ships entering the system's outer boundary. 3 hegemony vessels, sleek and deadly, were already calculating jump coordinates that would bring them to New Geneva Colony within hours. Their mission parameters were simple: eliminate any awakened humans and sterilize all evidence of the archive's existence. The archive provided Maya with detailed information about hegemony technology and tactics. These were the same aliens who had orchestrated humanity's downfall, descendants of the Cathara species that had once ruled a third of the galaxy before humanity's expansion challenged their dominance. Their ships were powerful, but relied heavily on conventional technology, lacking the adaptability that had made human vessels so formidable. Maya realized she had very little time to act. The approaching ships would arrive long before she could warn the colonial authorities or evacuate the population, even if she could convince people to listen. The colony's defenses were designed primarily for mining accidents and natural disasters, not military assault. Instead, Maya delved deeper into the archive's military databases, searching for weapons systems that might still be accessible. She discovered that the crystalline complex itself was far more than a storage facility. It was a fully functional command center, complete with manufacturing capabilities and defensive systems that had been dormant for centuries. The facility's quantum fabricators could produce almost any equipment described in the archive's technical specifications. Maya focused her abilities on the fabrication systems, using her psychic interface to initialize production sequences that would have taken teams of engineers months to program. The crystalline walls hummed with activity as molecular assemblers began constructing weapons, armor, and communication devices using patterns from humanity's golden age. While the fabricators worked, Maya accessed the facility's communication array and began broadcasting a special signal described in the archive as the awakening frequency. The signal was designed to resonate with dormant psychic abilities in other humans, potentially triggering their own awakening processes. If enough humans could be awakened quickly enough, they might have a chance against the approaching hegemony forces. The first responses came within minutes. A mining engineer named David Rodriguez suddenly found himself able to perceive the quantum structure of ore deposits through solid rock. Dr. Sarah Kim, a botanist studying alien plant species, discovered she could communicate directly with the neural networks of the colony's biocomputers. A teenage student named Alex Chen realized he could manipulate electromagnetic fields with his thoughts. But awakening came with a price. Each newly awakened human experienced the same flood of suppressed memories and stolen heritage that Maya had endured. The psychological shock of learning that everything they believed about human history was a lie caused some to retreat into denial, while others became consumed with rage at their alien manipulators. Maya worked to coordinate the awakening humans, using her enhanced abilities to establish a psychic communication network that bypassed the colony's monitored communication systems. She shared tactical information from the archive and helped others access their own dormant abilities. Within hours, dozens of humans throughout the colony were manifesting capabilities that officially didn't exist. The hegemony ships detected the psychic emanations long before reaching the colony. Their commanders were veterans of the original suppression campaign, and they recognized the signatures of awakened human abilities with growing alarm. What should have been a simple sterilization mission had become something far more dangerous. The lead ship's commander, a Cathara veteran named Zekthor, had fought human forces during the final battles of the War of the Helix. He had seen entire fleets destroyed by human crews who could predict enemy tactics and adapt their strategies faster than computer systems could calculate optimal responses. The psychic readings from New Geneva Colony indicated that humanity's legendary abilities were returning. Zekthor ordered his fleet to maximum combat readiness and began charging their planet-killer weapons. If they could destroy the colony before the humans fully awakened, the threat could still be contained. But as they approached the system's inner planets, they encountered something that challenged their understanding of the situation. Maya had used the archive's knowledge to activate ancient defensive satellites hidden throughout the solar system. These weapons platforms had been dormant for over 1,000 years, waiting for psychic activation signals that only awakened humans could provide. As the hegemony ships entered weapons range, they found themselves facing technology that had once terrorized the galaxy. The battle for New Geneva Colony was about to begin, and humanity's true nature would finally be revealed to a galaxy that had spent centuries trying to forget why they had once feared the species from Earth. The ancient defense satellites responded to Maya's psychic commands with deadly precision. Weapon systems that had been silent for over a millennium awakened with terrifying efficiency. The first hegemony ship to enter the system's inner boundary found itself targeted by quantum disruptors that phased directly through its shields and began dismantling its hull at the molecular level. Commander Zekthor watched in horror as his escort vessel simply ceased to exist, its atoms scattered across space in patterns that defied conventional physics. The humans had somehow accessed weapons technology that surpassed even the hegemony's most advanced systems. He immediately transmitted an emergency beacon to the nearest Cathara battle fleet, requesting immediate reinforcement. Maya felt the commander's fear through her expanding psychic awareness. She could sense his memories of the War of the Helix, his terror at facing awakened humans again, and his desperate attempts to contact his superiors. Through the Archive's tactical systems, she watched as more hegemony ships began emerging from hyperspace, drawn by the distress signals. The odds were becoming overwhelming. Even with the ancient defense platforms, the colony would soon face a full battle fleet equipped with planet-killing weapons. Maya realized that simply defending New Geneva would not be enough. If humanity was to survive this revelation, they needed to strike at the heart of the conspiracy that had enslaved them for centuries. The archive contained detailed intelligence about hegemony command structures and the locations of their primary control centers. Maya discovered that the network of monitoring systems throughout human space was coordinated from a massive station called the Nexus, hidden in an asteroid field only 50 light-years away. If the Nexus could be destroyed, the aliens' ability to track and suppress human awakening would be crippled. But reaching the Nexus would require technologies that the colony didn't possess. Even the ancient defense satellites lacked faster-than-light capability. Maya delved deeper into the archive's databases, searching for solutions that could turn the tide of battle. She found her answer in the facility's deepest levels, where the most restricted technologies had been stored. The archive contained complete specifications for humanity's greatest achievement. Ships that could travel not just through space, but through the quantum dimensions that connected all points in the universe instantaneously. These vessels could appear anywhere without warning, immune to conventional detection and interception. The crystalline complex began a massive transformation as Maya initiated the construction protocols. The entire facility reconfigured itself, quantum fabricators working at unprecedented speeds to assemble components that shouldn't have been possible to manufacture. The archive's knowledge flowed through Maya's consciousness, guiding the creation of humanity's most advanced warship. Throughout the colony, awakened humans felt the call to action. Dr. Sarah Kim used her newfound abilities to interface with the biocomputers that managed life support systems, optimizing them far beyond their original specifications. David Rodriguez applied his quantum perception to the mining equipment, converting industrial tools into weapons capable of destabilizing hegemony ship hulls. Alex Chen worked with other awakened teenagers to establish a psychic coordination network that allowed instant communication across the entire system. The transformation was not limited to technology. As more humans awakened to their true potential, they began to remember ancestral knowledge that had been locked away in their genetic memory. Combat techniques that combined physical prowess with psychic enhancement. Scientific principles that treated consciousness as a fundamental force of nature. Strategic thinking that could anticipate enemy actions across multiple dimensions of possibility. When the completed ship emerged from the crystalline complex, even Maya was awed by its beauty and power. The vessel seemed to exist partially outside normal space-time, its hull shifting between solid matter and pure energy as needed. The ship's consciousness was an extension of Maya's own psychic abilities, allowing her to pilot it through thought alone. The hegemony fleet had grown to over 30 vessels by the time Maya's ship approached their formation. Commander Zekthor felt a chill of recognition when he detected the quantum signatures of the approaching craft. The readings matched those of the legendary human dreadnoughts that had broken the siege of Arcturus and shattered the combined fleet at the Battle of Sol's Edge. Maya's ship phased through the hegemony formation without triggering a single sensor, demonstrating the quantum displacement technology that had made human vessels nearly impossible to track. She emerged directly behind the command ship and opened fire with weapons that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The battle was unlike anything seen in the galaxy for over 1,000 years. Maya's enhanced reflexes and precognitive abilities allowed her to anticipate enemy attacks before they were fired. The ship's adaptive systems learned from each engagement, evolving countermeasures faster than the hegemony computers could calculate new strategies. Within minutes, half the attacking fleet had been disabled or destroyed. But Maya's true objective was not the destruction of these ships. Using the Archive's intelligence data, she began transmitting awakening frequencies throughout the galaxy, targeting human populations that had been suppressed for generations. The signals bypassed conventional communication systems, traveling through quantum channels that connected all human consciousness. On worlds throughout the galaxy, humans began to awaken to their true heritage. The effects were immediate and dramatic. On the industrial world of Kepler Prime, human workers suddenly realized they could interface directly with manufacturing systems, increasing productivity by thousands of % while their alien supervisors watched in terror. On the research station orbiting Proxima Centauri, human scientists made breakthrough discoveries that had eluded galactic civilization for millennia. The hegemony's control network began collapsing as awakened humans took control of systems that were supposed to be beyond their understanding. Monitoring stations went offline, communication networks were subverted, and carefully maintained political structures crumbled as humans rejected the limitations that had been imposed on them. Maya felt the moment when the awakening reached critical mass. Across hundreds of worlds, millions of humans were remembering what they had lost and reclaiming what was rightfully theirs. The psychic resonance of so many awakened minds created a cascade effect that accelerated the process exponentially. Commander Zekthor made one final desperate attempt to prevent humanity's resurrection. He activated his ship's planet-killer weapon and aimed it directly at New Geneva Colony. If he could eliminate the source of the awakening, the effect might still be contained. Maya sensed his intention and acted with inhuman speed. Her ship phased directly into the path of the planet-killer beam, absorbing the energy through quantum shields that converted the attack into pure power for her ship's systems. She then redirected that energy into a concentrated blast that not only destroyed Zekthor's vessel, but opened a dimensional rift that transported the remaining hegemony ships directly into the nearest star. With the immediate threat eliminated, Maya set course for the Nexus station. The journey through quantum dimensions took only seconds, bringing her ship into the heart of the hegemony's control network. The massive station, hidden for centuries in an asteroid field, had coordinated the suppression of human development across the galaxy. The Nexus was heavily defended by automated systems and Cathara warriors who had dedicated their lives to containing the human threat. But they had never faced an awakened human with access to humanity's full technological heritage. Maya's ship moved through their defenses like a force of nature, dismantling obstacles that had been considered impregnable. At the station's core, Maya discovered the master control systems that had maintained humanity's psychological and genetic suppression. Quantum computers calculated optimal manipulation strategies, while biolaboratories produced the subtle toxins that weakened human psychic development. Most horrifying of all, she found memory storage systems containing the consciousness of captured human psychics from the War of the Helix. prisoners who had been tortured for information about human capabilities for over 1,000 years. Maya's rage at this discovery manifested as pure psychic energy that overloaded the station's power systems. As the Nexus began to collapse around her, she used her abilities to free the trapped human consciousness and integrate their knowledge with her own. The combined psychic potential of a dozen legendary human warriors flowed through her awareness, carrying with it the accumulated wisdom and determination of humanity's greatest heroes. When Maya emerged from the collapsing station, she carried with her not just the liberation of her own people, but the complete tactical and technological databases that the hegemony had used to control the galaxy. The information would allow awakened humans to identify and neutralize alien influence throughout their space, while reclaiming the worlds and resources that had been stolen from them. The aftermath of Maya's actions spread across the galaxy with unprecedented speed. Human colonies that had been struggling with limited resources suddenly found themselves capable of miraculous achievements. Technologies emerged that solved problems which had plagued civilization for centuries. Most importantly, humans began to remember their true nature as a species that could overcome any challenge through determination, creativity, and unified action. The other galactic civilizations, faced with humanity's awakening, had to make a choice. Some, like the peaceful Altarians, welcomed humanity's return and sought to establish genuine partnerships based on mutual respect. Others, like the militaristic Draconis Empire, attempted to form new alliances to contain the human threat. But the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity was no longer the limited, dependent species that could be controlled through manipulation and deception. They had reclaimed their birthright as the most adaptable and determined species in the universe, and they would never again allow themselves to be diminished. Maya returned to New Geneva Colony to find a world transformed. The awakened humans had not only defended their home, but had begun construction of new cities that incorporated technologies beyond anything seen in the galaxy for over a millennium. Children who had been ordinary students that morning were now displaying abilities that made them more capable than seasoned alien scholars. As Maya walked through the crystalline archive that had started it all, she felt the psychic presence of millions of awakened humans across the galaxy. They were no longer isolated individuals struggling against unknown limitations, but part of a vast network of consciousness that spanned the stars. Together, they would explore the universe's deepest mysteries, overcome challenges that seemed impossible, and ensure that humanity would never again be denied its destiny among the stars. The girl who had discovered a forgotten archive had become the catalyst for humanity's greatest renaissance. And in the depths of space, alien civilizations that had once ruled through fear and deception began to understand why their ancestors had been so afraid of the remarkable species from a small blue planet they called Earth.